Howdy y'all. Thank you for joining us today for this playthrough of Marvel Champions, the card game. This is going to be a playthrough of the Wasp deck. It is the hero pack. We just done an unboxing of it. I'm going to play the hero pack exactly as it came inside of here. It is an aggression deck. If it's your first time to see this game or hear about it, just to give you a quick rundown, the deck is built in one of four ways. It's comprised of basically 15 cards that are unique to Wasp that you have to have in there. And then it has some basics, and like I said, there's one of four ways it can be built. It can be built with aggression, which is what this deck is built with. It could be protection, which is more like defense wise, like basically healing and whatnot. Justice, which goes against the scheme, and we'll get to that in a second. And then we have leadership, which has allies. You basically beef up allies and beef yourself up with stuff and go against them. Aggression is going to be more of just straight up big bang, try to hit and knock out anything and everything that gets in your way. All right. I normally sleeve these up. It's just like I said, I just not done the unboxing, so I decided to go ahead and just throw it straight immediately and see what happens. I like to play it that way. Aggression, other than the hero decks, I haven't really played that much of aggression. All right, so the way I do these starter decks is I put it against Rhino. Rhino is the starter deck that comes in the base set for the bad guys. And all that's in here is basically just Rhino's cards and the standard compromise of cards, composition of cards, I should say. Oh man, I'm just messing up words all day today. It's the standard composition of cards. It's called standard, and it's like 7 cards. And then I was going to go ahead and just do something random because I'm getting tired of just constantly going against Rhino and starting to learn the deck. It recommends to put a bomb scare in here. I was going to do random, and then I was like, well, that's not really going to show me too much, and I didn't feel like just hitting the randomizer. So I went ahead and put in bomb scare. And I've already shuffled in. Wasp has every character that plays in the game, every hero, has one obligation that gets shuffled into the deck. And it's something that when it comes up, it's their obligation to take care of it. Hers was a red dream or something like that. I actually kind of forgot about it already. Caffeine's starting to wear off, I think. Okay, so we gave us a few more shuffles. And the way this is going to work is Rhino is basically trying to break into a shield facility and steal weapons or upgrades and stuff like that. We are going to try to knock out Rhino. There are 2 Rhinos here. One at 14 hit points, and then when we knock him out at 14, he comes back and it's his phase 2, and it's going to be another 15 hit points. Oh, I didn't take his 3 out. We just got to knock him out twice is the way the starter deck thing works. All right. Once we knock him out to 14, then knock him out to 15 right after that, we win. Rhino wins if he can pull off his scheme of breaking into the facility. And how that's going to happen is there are ways he's going to add tokens to this scheme. If he ever has 7 per player added to this scheme, then he's going to win. So in this case, since I'm playing it solo, he just needs 7 tokens on here to win. And you'll see how those get added in here in a second. And I do have this kind of propped up, so it might look a little weird. I'm trying to see if I can cut off that glare that always constantly happens when I play on this table. Eventually, I'm going to have to invest in some type of lighting situation because it's starting to get really bad. But anyways, now, another way that Rhino can win is if he can knock me out. My hit points are determined at the beginning, at the bottom here. So I start out with 11 hit points. So if Rhino can knock me out, knock me down below, or knock out 11 hit points, or knock me to 0 or below, then he wins also. So that's pretty much what it is. It's me trying to knock out Rhino twice before he can knock me out or pull off his scheme. And we'll go through how all the phases work as it goes. All right, so I gave this a couple shuffles. Let's go ahead and cut it there. I start in my alter ego form, and I start with a hand size of 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the cards I drew are Surprise Attack, Wasp Sting, Rapid Growth, Pinpoint Strike, the Power of Aggression, and Pim Particles. All right, now just let me look at one thing real fast here. Know what numbers I'm looking at. Okay, the way this game works is if I want to do something, like in this case, I want to play Surprise Attack. It costs 1 resource in order to play this card. So if you look at the bottom of all these cards, they all have a resource on the bottom of them. By discarding the card, you get to spend that. That's like spending that resource to pay to that cost. So in this case, I want to play Surprise Attack. It costs 1. So I'm going to discard this. Now this is actually has a response. Well, actually, hold on. I take that back. I cannot do that yet because it's a hero response. I have to be in hero form. So actually, the first action I'm going to do for my turn is one of the things you could do for your turn is you could switch from alter ego form to hero form. In this case, she has a fold out form, and only one other character I know of, like basically is Ant-Man, can do this. And what it does is I can switch either from alter ego to hero, or from hero to alter ego, or from alter ego to this hero form, or from this hero form to this, and vice versa. But that is one action. You only do it once per turn. So I am using my first action to switch from alter ego to hero form. And then that is a hero form, and it is a hero response. So that means I can respond in basically after I change form, which is what I just did. I can deal 3 damage to an enemy. So I'm going to pay the 1. I'm going to use this card now. Do this in the right order. And it basically says if I use this card to spend, after I spend this card, heal 2 damage from your hero if I'm in giant form, or draw 1 card if I am in tiny hero form. I am in tiny hero form, so that means I get to draw a card for spending that card. And I drew Swarm Tactics. All right, so now I paid for this card, and it says after you change form, deal 3 damage to an enemy. 4 damage instead if you paid for this card using a aggression or red resource. All right, in this case, I use this card. This is actually a wild card, and it counts as whatever it's looking for when being used for spending. So in this case, it is a red resource that I spent, so I get to do 4 damage to Rhino. So 4 damage to Rhino. Well, looks like I'm going to play this card. I want to play Pinpoint Strike. It costs 3. So 1, 2, 3. It is a hero action. I am in hero form, so I can do it. It is an attack. I'm dealing 7 damage to an enemy if I am in tiny hero form, which I am. This attack deals 1 additional damage to that enemy and gains overkill. Overkill doesn't matter in this case. It just means that if I was attacking a minion and I finished off the minion, I'd be able to go all the way through and hit Rhino for the rest of the damage. But yep, so that's 8 damage to Rhino. Man, she hit him really, really hard, taking him down to 2 hit points. And I mean, that's kind of the way the aggression decks are supposed to work from what I understand, but all right. Another action I can do is I can choose to exhaust one of my characters, whether it be an ally or the hero, and I can either use Thwart, which would get rid of scheme off or threat off the scheme. I do that all the time, by the way. I'm always going to mix up threat and scheme. I don't know why. And then, or I can attack a minion or villain for that much damage. Or whenever they're attacking me, I can exhaust them to defend and reduce the damage by this much. In this case, I'm going to exhaust her to do 1 more damage to Rhino, taking him to 1. Then we move to my end phase. At the end step, I can discard any cards I want to before I draw up to my hand size, which in this case, it was 6 starting out, but now, because I'm in tiny form, my hand size is 5. So I'm going to keep this card. So I'm going to draw 4 new cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I unexhaust all the cards in my play area. So I unexhaust Wasp. And then we move on to the villain phase. Okay, so the first step in the bad guy phase is we look here and we see how much scheme, how the scheme gets basically progressed. In this case, it says add 1 per number of players. So since I'm solo, we add 1 threat to the scheme. And like I said, when he gets 7, he wins. The next step is the villain checks to see what form you are in. In this case, I am in hero form. If I'm in hero form, then he is going to attack me. If I was in alter ego form, then he would scheme and add threat to the scheme that he is, to his main scheme. So since I'm in hero form, he's going to attack. So he's going to do 2 damage plus a number of damage equal to what gets pulled out of here. There's a random factor that happens there. Before I show what happens there, I have to decide that now that he is attacking me, if I am going to defend or not. I am not going to choose to defend. So in this case, he's going to do 2. And then we flip over this top card, and we're not looking at the overall what the card does. We're looking at the very bottom. So we're looking right here. And if it is this symbol right here, that just adds to whatever damage he is doing. So in this case, he is doing 2 plus 1. He is doing 3 damage to me, taking me to 8. Then the next step in the villain phase is for each player to be dealt 1 encounter card. And then after each player has been dealt an encounter card, we have to encounter whatever the card is. So now that we've been dealt our card, we encounter it. And it is Shocker. It is a minion. So he comes into play, and normally this would come in play engaged with whoever flipped it up. In this case, I'm playing solo mode, so we're just going to flip him up right here and just leave everything up in this area. But the minion does come into play, and it says when he's revealed, deal 1 damage to each hero. So I take another damage. And then after that encounter phase, what's supposed to happen then is you pass the first player marker. In this case, I'm solo, so it doesn't pass anywhere, so we just go back to my turn. And we go back and forth until one of the conditions is met. Either I'm knocked out, he's knocked out, or he pulls off his scheme. I'm going to play Wasp here as an ally. And normally you cannot have multiple cards that have this symbol in play with the same name. Hence Wasp and Wasp. Never mind, I misunderstood what it was talking about. Basically, it means you can't even have this in the deck if they share the same name unless they have a different identifier, whereas this is Janet Van Dyne and the identifier here is Nadia Van Dyne. So in this case, they can be in the same deck together. But really the rule I was looking for, but I'm assuming I'm reading this right, is it says as a response after Wasp defeats a minion or side scheme, deal 1 damage to the villain. And the reason I'm worried about it, I don't want to do damage to him because I want to wait till I can have a whole turn basically to deal with what things he may or may not do. But anyways, I'm assuming it's got to be this Wasp. It can't be this Wasp, even though like in Magic terms, they're the same name. So I'm assuming it's got to be this Wasp. I couldn't find anything in her thing about it, so I'm just going to assume that way. If I'm wrong, oh well. It just means I made it harder on myself. So I need to pay for Wasp. She is 0. And in this case, normally what happens with an ally, when you bring them out, they get some hit points. and they go away when those hit points are gone. Well, she would have 0, so she'd go away immediately, but she gets +1 for every counter on her. As an interrupt, when Wasp enters play, I get to place 1 Pim particle on her to a maximum of 3 for each of that resource that I overpaid for Wasp's cost. So really it's for each of that resource that she's 0 that I pay with that cost, she gets a hit point. I'm discarding 3 of that symbol, so she is going to get 3 hit points. This is why normally, if you've been watching my other playthroughs, you'll see I usually put the counters on there, but it's only when I was doing the playthroughs that I would throw the counters on there. It's because of stuff like this that I prefer taking counters off than putting counters on. But I understand in cases like this, it becomes kind of weird. But it's the reason why I'm going to go ahead and put 3 on Shocker here, because it helps me keep track of that's how many hit points he's got left instead of how much damage is on him. Okay, so with Wasp, this Wasp, the ally Wasp, it works the same as mine, where they can, as my character, where I can choose to attack or thwart. But if you notice, they got little stars here. What happens is when they do whichever one they're going to do, they take whatever damage is equal to the number of stars. I can't remember what this is called off the top of my head. It's called something else. But basically, they help you out, but they go away slowly over time. So with her, I'm going to choose to attack Shocker. So I exhaust her. She gets rid of one of her counters. She's going to do 3 damage to Shocker. He has 3 hit points. So she knocks out Shocker. And then with this Hero Wasp, I'm going to thwart the scheme. So I get rid of 1 threat off the scheme. And then for my other action, I'm going to switch to Alter Ego form. And one of the actions in one of the things I can do as an action in my Alter Ego form is I can shuffle up to 2 cards with that resource from my discard pile into my deck. So that hit so hard that I'm going to shuffle that back in. And this was one I wanted to play also, but we're going to shuffle them back in. During the unboxing of this, for some reason, I looked at that ability and I was thinking it heals you. I don't know what I was thinking. But, yep, so let's shuffle those back in. But it's still pretty cool because if your deck ever runs out, basically you have to take another bad guy encounter against yourself for your deck running out. So being able to put cards back in your deck that are strong, like that one that done 8 damage, and be able to also put it back and keep yourself from having to take the encounter seems really good. I have no other actions I want to do. I have 1 card left in hand. I'm going to choose to go ahead and discard that card. And I draw up to my hand size of 6. So 1, drew one of them back. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we saw I drew another ally. You can have up to 3 allies in play helping you. Alright, we unexhaust. And we move to the bad guy turn. He adds 1 threat to the scheme. I am in Alter Ego form, so he is going to scheme. So he gets 1, and it acts just like the normal attack. He gets 1 plus 2, so he gets to add 3 threat to the scheme. Now we go to the encounter phase. We have a treachery, explosion happens. Sorry, I was seeing if I had anything that could respond to this. I do not, so it is, when revealed, if Bomb Scare is in play, assign X damage among heroes and allies where X is the amount of threat on Bomb Scare. Bomb Scare is not in play, so if Bomb Scare is not in play, this card gains Surge. And what Surge means is you discard it and draw another card. So in this case, armored Rhino suit. We attach this to Rhino. When any amount of damage would be dealt to Rhino, place it here instead. Then if there's at least 5 damage here, discard armored Rhino suit. So basically giving him 5 more hit points. Then we go back to my turn. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and use my first action to do the shuffle up to 2 of that printed value from my discard pile back in the deck. I was really thinking about this for a while. I would have cut it all out already though. And it's only because I really don't want to shuffle these back in. They don't seem that good to me for what I want to do, but we're gonna do it anyways. I just feel weird not doing it. All right, we're gonna switch to tiny form. I'm going to play Ironheart. I'm going to use this energy to pay for it. So Ironheart comes into play. As a response, after I play Ironheart from my hand, I get to draw 1 card. So I'm drawing another Into the Fray, which is a good card, just not good right now. I'm going to play Wasp Sting, discarding these 2 cards to do it. So what Wasp Sting does, I've already played this once before, and it was if I'm in tiny form, deal 5 damage to an enemy. So I'm going to deal 5 damage to Rhino. I can put it on here, but it doesn't matter. What's going to happen is it's going to get rid of the armored suit. Forgot to put the 2 on Ironheart since I am switching to that. All right, I'm going to exhaust Ironheart, and she's going to thwart towards the scheme. I'm going to exhaust Wasp to attack Rhino, which will knock him out. It brings out his new form. Puts him at 15. And then we go look for Breaking and Taken. I don't think it came out yet. Nope. All right. And I'll go ahead and put this out right here and go ahead and put the threat on it. So that way while I'm shuffling, I can talk about it. So the way the side schemes work is, like in this case, you do what it says when it revealed. So it gets this much scheme. And then you add, or you do whatever it says when revealed, which it says add 1 per number of player. The side schemes are really just more things that make it harder to pull things off. In this case, it's saying that I will have to deal 2 encounter cards to myself, which is why I was kind of wanting to, yeah, Breaking and Taking could be really bad. I actually forgot what it added on, but I just remembered it was one of those things where it's like, man, it's kind of, it can lose me the game if I time it wrong. But so in this case, I will get 2 encounter cards added into my deck, or that I'll have to deal with during the encounter phase. But we can just hope I can knock Rhino out before he pulls off all the schemes. All right, shuffle that up. We're going to go ahead and tap Wasp, and she's going to attack Rhino, taking him down to 12. Discard that. So I discard 1 down. I'm keeping 1. So I draw up to hand size of 5. So I'll draw 4 new ones. 1, 2, 3. I knew I didn't want to shuffle those back in. And of course I draw those. Need something that would have done a lot of damage. Okay, we unexhaust. Threat gets added to the main scheme. I am in hero form. He's going to attack for 3. Could be a mistake, but I'm going to do it anyways. I'm not going to defend, so he does 3, 4, 5 damage. Taking me to 2. Oh. All right, we get 2 encounter cards dealt to us. And now we have to do the encounters, which is Stampede. I am in hero form, so he attacks me. And if I am damaged by this attack, I am stunned. Well, whichever character is damaged by the attacks is stunned. So I'm going to defend with Ironheart. So he does 3, 4, more than enough to knock her out. She would get stunned, but she's knocked out. Assault. The villain attacks. Oh my goodness. I am going to defend. So he does 3 plus 0. So he does 3 minus 2 does 1 damage. I am at 1. Well, I took a chance, and that almost... Of course, looking at my hand, I don't really know much I could do on the next turn, which is now. So, and hope to survive. We'll see what happens. Here we go. I'm going to use a hero. Oh, no, just want to change forms. I mean, that's what I was going to do anyways. I was going to change forms, but... All right, so I'm changing form to my other hero form. As a hero response, I'm going to pay 1. This does 3 damage to an enemy. 4 if I pay with a red. Paying with the wild, so it is going to do 4 damage to Rhino, taking him to 8. And here's where I'm trying to figure out if I want to take the chance or not. I've just taken him down to 5. Hope I survive. Yeah, as much as I'd like to push that damage to Rhino, I'm going to leave Wasp open to be able to take an attack, especially since I have 2 encounters coming up. So, I have 3 cards left in hand. I am going to discard 2 cards. Make it draw back up to my hand size. I have 1 in hand, so I draw up to 5, or draw 4 because I draw up to 5. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I should be able to knock him out if I survive this. So see if we can just survive this then. 1 gets added in. He is going to attack. I am going to have Wasp defend. So 3, 4. Knocking out Wasp. All right, 2 encounter cards. Let's see if we can survive this. Puts it, oh, well, actually. So it's another side scheme. It's crowd control. It's going to put 2 per player on there. All it is I cannot remove threat from the main scheme until I remove this side scheme. So that one's all right because of what I want to do, as long as this one doesn't make me lose the game. Oh, really? So this is my obligation, means I have to do it. I can flip to alter ego form if I want to. I choose Nadia Van Dyne, remove, exhaust her. Well, I can't do the other thing. So yep, I will choose to switch her to her alter ego form. And then, oh, I'm exhausted already. No, wait, no, I wouldn't then. Because I didn't have to defend. Yeah. I was like, wait. And then I will exhaust her to remove red dreams from the game. Go to my turn. That should be enough for the game. Make sure there's nothing that stops me from just doing this to Rhino. So first thing I do, just because I want to do more stuff, I could shuffle 2 cards with that symbol back into my deck as an action. Oh, we'll do Wallstein. Good card. Doesn't matter. If I read the cards in my hand correctly, I should have it because I drew that card that I already shuffled back in. The one that does 8 damage, and Rhino is at 8. So I'm just doing this just to, hey, I'm playing the game. Look at me. All right. So I'm going to play Pinpoint Strike. Discard 3 cards to do it. Oh, well, actually, I can't do that. It's a hero action. So first I switch to Tiny Form, which is a hero. And then I play as a hero action. Already discard cards. Deals 7 damage to an enemy if I am in tiny hero form. This attack deals 1 additional damage to that enemy and gains overkill. So I deal 8 damage to Rhino, taking him out. Man, that pinpoint strike and that ability to be able to shuffle it back in, I wonder how many are in the deck, because that is a really, really strong ability. Okay, there's 2 in there. I was about to say, man, the odds of me drawing that again. But it really did hurt me to shuffle those 2 cards in that I did not need to shuffle in. Oh, there's 3 in there. Wow. I thought Hulk could hit hard, but man, that is a hard hit. And I am doing that right? 3 to pay. Hero action attack deals 7 damage to an enemy. If you are in tiny hero form, this attack deals 1. God, man, that is... I mean... Yep. I don't know if I liked it as much as I did Ant-Man. I did enjoy Ant-Man's responses better, but it was cool. I definitely would like to try something other than aggression. I guess I'm just a defensive player, or just a player that looks at other stuff. I really don't like how limited aggression is to the schemes. It's really hard to take out those schemes in aggression mode, which is kind of the point. All right, well, that was cool. Quick and easy, which is the way aggression should be, is you're going aggressively. Gonna take this apart, see what I can do. But cool. Thank you for joining me for this. Have a great day.